OpenAI is rolling out GPT-4o with Canvas, and Canvas is supposed to add some pretty cool new features. I might be a little bit late to this party because I just saw this on Twitter and it seems like it was released earlier today, but I wanted to check it out kind of in real time and talk about it and share it with you guys and see what I think and see what it can do, because it does seem like it might be pretty cool. And it seems like it might compete a little bit with some of those AI augmented text editors that we have out there right now, like Cursor. It's not really a text editor, but it does seem to have some similar features to what Cursor is trying to do within a text editor. So I'm just going to kind of go through the article and talk a little bit about what Canvas is, and then I'm going to try it out and see what my first impression of this thing is. And let's check out the article real quick. So it says, we're introducing Canvas, a new interface for working with ChatGPT on writing and coding projects that go beyond a simple chat. Canvas opens in a separate window, allowing you and ChatGPT to collaborate on projects. This early beta introduces a new way of working together, not just through conversation, but by creating and refining ideas side by side. Canvas was built on GPT-4o and can be manually selected in the model picker while in beta. Starting today, we're rolling out Canvas to ChatGPT Plus and team users globally. Better collaboration with ChatGPT. People use ChatGPT every day for help with writing and code. Although the chat interface is easy to use and works well for many tasks, it's limited when you want to work on projects that require editing and revisions. I will say that it does kind of suck when you're trying to like tweak your code a little bit and then it has to just regenerate everything. So it seems like this feature will be nice because you'll be able to just have it edit the lines that you need to edit and not just have it keep repeating the same boilerplate or the same code over and over, because I do get tired of ChatGPT just giving me all this code when I just needed to adjust a few things. So it seems like you can get to a more granular level of adjustment when it comes to the things that you want it to change. It says you can highlight specific sections to indicate exactly what you want ChatGPT to focus on, like a copy editor or code reviewer. You can give it inline feedback and suggestions with the entire project in mind. You can control the project in Canvas. You can directly add text or code. There's a menu shortcut to ask ChatGPT to adjust the writing length, debug your code, and quickly perform other useful actions. Canvas automatically opens up when ChatGPT detects a scenario in which it could be helpful. You can also include use Canvas in your prompt to open Canvas and use it as an existing project. All right, let's see. So it says suggest edits, adjust the length, change reading level. So this is kind of what it looks like when you're using it for text, and you can adjust the reading level there. And let's see, coding in Canvas. Coding is an iterative process and it can be hard to follow all the revisions to your code in chat. Canvas makes it easier for you to track and understand ChatGPT's changes, and we plan to continue improving transparency into these kinds of edits. So here's what it will do for you. We got code review. ChatGPT will provide inline suggestions to improve your code. We have logs. It will insert print statements to help you debug and understand your code. Add comments to the code and make it easier for you to understand. I've noticed with comments on ChatGPT, like, it won't necessarily just comment all the code for you, but sometimes when you ask it to do a small change, it'll like comment one section of it. It's kind of annoying because I know the section that I wanted you to change, so you don't have to add a comment to that. But it would be nice to just be able to highlight certain areas and be like, comment this section. I use ChatGPT for that sometimes, to just kind of comment some of my code that's already existing. So it's nice to be able to like specify where I want the comments to be with this inline Canvas editor that they're going to have here. Fix bugs. It detects and rewrites problematic code to resolve errors. But will ChatGPT fix its own bugs when it gives you problematic code from a prompt that you gave it? I don't know. And it port to a language. Translate your code into JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, Java, C++, or PHP. Okay, that seems pretty cool. Training the model to become a collaborator. We've trained ChatGPT 4o to collaborate as a creative partner. The model knows when to open a canvas, make targeted edits, and fully rewrite. It also understands broader context to provide precise feedback and suggestions. To support this, our research team developed the few following core behaviors: triggering the canvas for writing and coding, generating diverse content types, making targeted edits, rewriting documents, and providing inline critique. We measured progress with over 20 automated internal evaluations. We used novel synthetic data generation techniques such as distilling outputs from OpenAI o1 Preview to post-train the model for its core behaviors. This approach allows us to rapidly address writing quality and new user interactions without relying on human-generated data. A key challenge was defining when to trigger a canvas. So there's just some more information here on how they trained it and how they got it all set up. It's a lot of technical stuff that, I feel that I am not well versed enough to talk about because I don't really necessarily understand how AI works all that well. And me reading this would just sound like some dummy reading it out loud. And I'll probably go ahead and read this on my own later so that I can get a better understanding of it. But I'm going to spare you guys to not have to listen to me do that. And I'm going to go right into ChatGPT and see what this looks like with Canvas. Test it out a little bit. I know I got some code that I can throw in it, so why not? Let's do that. So you can see to find the with Canvas option, you just go into your toggle here to select your models. And it's already showing up here in the beta, and I already had it selected, but that's how you would find it. If you are a Plus user, you should have it available to you now, so you can start using it right now. But I'm going to go ahead and select that. And I'm trying to think what I have. Let me see if I can just get some existing code that I already have and have it like look for some bugs, and then I'm going to play a little bit with the features that it has. Let me open up my text editor real quick. Recently, I was playing around with a few little ideas that I had just for fun, little side project stuff, because I'm trying to come up with some SaaS ideas. And I've had the idea of wanting to create like an AI story reader. And I got this working for the most part, and it was mostly done with AI. Used it to kind of quickly prototype some stuff using PHP and Laravel and Vue. And I'm kind of new to Vue, and I just had to generate some code for me. So I have some Vue code that I had to generate, and I have some PHP code, and maybe I can kind of mess around with that a little bit. Maybe I'll just pass in the Vue stuff and see if I can have it change it to React and see what else I can do with it if it actually allows me to do that. Let's check out the code that I have here. I've got this reading tool Vue file that I have in my project here. I'm going to just copy that over, and I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to ask it to review this code for me. So it should trigger the canvas on its own. At least that's what I understand it's supposed to do. So it seems like it didn't trigger it on the first try. Like I don't see a canvas. I see that I selected that option up here, and it just kind of gave me some responses like it normally would. So let me try that again. Let me do review this code with Canvas. Okay, now we're cooking. So I did have the prompted and tell it to do it with Canvas. Although I had it selected, it did say that if you wanted it to do that, you would kind of ask it or include it in the prompt. So let's see. So here we have it on the side, and we can expand this a little bit. So I'm going to split screen that so that I can see, make sure that you guys can still see. I want to zoom in a little bit so that everyone can see what I'm doing here, because my head is kind of in the corner where all the tools are here. So let me just move my face over to the other side real quick. There's really like no good position for me to put my face, so I'm just going to hide it for now. All right, so I've got all that Vue.js code that I just dumped in there, and it's reviewed my code for me. So it says the positive aspects of my code, where it says it's nicely organized and well structured, separating the UI and logic clearly. I'm correctly using ref. It says user feedback, proper feedback for loading states, generating for disabling button, enhances user experience, conditional rendering. So it gives me all the good stuff there at the top. And then what do we have here? Areas for improvement. So we've got some error handling improvements. Let's see. In the handle audio error function, you have use error, which should be an E to match the parameter that's passed in. So then let's see that here. So it did catch a little bug here. All right, because I was declaring the E for error, but I was passing in the word error. So that's a catch there that it caught, which is nice that it actually caught that. Then what's it got here? It says it's got some prompt validation. Before calling generate story, ensure the prompt value is not empty to prevent unnecessary API calls. You can add validation like this. What else do we have here? It says instead of using multiple individual reactive variables like is generating and is loading, consider grouping them in a single object to keep your state management simpler. So here we can do a const state ref, and then we can kind of have all of those refs defined in one object for better state management or simpler state management. So where are we doing that here? Okay, so instead of having all of these variables being set individually for the ref, then we could just use that. So then can I do something like highlight this and then ask ChatGPT and then say implement the changes you suggested here to make one object. Let me see, does it just rewrite it in place? How does that work? So, okay, so you can see it kind of created a new prompt, and then it's going through the code. And then as it was going through it, it did that and just continued generating new code, like it almost inline, I would say. I guess that's what they're calling it, inline, which it doesn't feel inline because I would consider inline it just changing this, but it seems to have like gone through the whole thing and rewrote the whole thing, but maybe it wasn't. It's kind of maybe just how they display the UI. It doesn't really feel like inline changes because it did seem to like regenerate everything and it created a new prompt over here. I still think that that was pretty good. And then what if I just go over here and see, so it has code review. So here are my options down here, and they're kind of hard to see, but if you look at the bottom right hand corner, you can see the different options that we have. So we can port it to a different language, and then we can add logs and we can add comments. Let's just click add comments so it can comment all my code. Is it just going to comment everything? Let's see. So it is going through the code all over again. Let's see if it just starts adding comments to it. I'm going to try to keep up with it as it goes down the line. Really should only add comments to the logic. So, oh, okay. Oh, wow. It's adding comments to everything. So I got to say that this has code smell. Like, I don't like how many comments it's adding. I would have thought that it would be smart enough to maybe just add comments to like the main functions and maybe not every single line, because this is not good. Like if I was in a code base and I saw this many comments on every single line, because it's almost on every single line, I would be like, who wrote this? Why are there so many comments? And I would just say that that feels like a red flag to me if I enter a code base and I see comments like that. But, you know, it was a click of a button and I did add comments. Let's see if I fix bugs. Do you think it'll find any bugs in the code? It did mention a few things that I would say that this error here, I wouldn't say it's a bug, but I would say that it wouldn't have gotten the error. So maybe if I change that, let's see if it changes this or if it catches that and fixes that. Let's just say fix bugs and see what it does. It is kind of telling us what we're doing here, but it's not going into any detail on the prompt side or on the chat side. It's just kind of running through this and making the changes. I'm having a hard time keeping up with it because I can't see it. Let's see. Oh, it caught that. Okay. So it did catch that, and it mentioned it over here that it made that change. So that was a bug because I don't think that error would have logged there. So that's kind of nice that it did catch that bug. So I realized that the code review button that's in the sidebar within the canvas is going to do something completely different than if you prompt it to give you a code review. So let me click that now and show you what that does. Let's see if it says the same improvement. So it really only did the try finally. So what did it do? It just added a try catch here and then added that there. I'm not sure why it's highlighting this. I'm guessing that's what it changed. It happened so quick, I kind of missed that one. And then we got all of these. Okay, so these are kind of like notes. Okay, so this is what it actually put. So when it did the code review, all right, so I see what they're trying to do there. So when you get code reviews in like GitHub and stuff, you get little comments like that. So these are, it's reviewing my code, and I'll make this side a little bit bigger so that you can see more of the code. So it basically added comments and gave me suggestions on what I should do. And then it gives me an option to apply it here, which is kind of nice. So then you can put in your code and then ask it to tell you what's wrong with it and then apply the changes that it suggests. So let's just go ahead and apply that. See if it applies it to the other lines too, because I would expect it to apply it to the other things, because if that does want to put a try catch and a finally, then it should wrap the whole thing. Oh, there's the finalies. Okay, so it added that to the try catches. So that's nice that it did add that. So that's good. I hate the comments. I can't get over the comments. Now, I want to port this over to a language. What are my options? I have to drag that. So Python, C++, PHP, JavaScript, TypeScript, Java. So that's kind of not really what I would hope for, considering that it's front-end framework code. Like I'm giving it Vue.js code. And if I wanted to port over Vue.js code into something else, I would have thought I would have an option to maybe port it over to just regular HTML, or if I would have the option to port it over to React or Angular or another front-end framework. But I get that this is beta. I'm kind of, being a little picky here, but I'm just curious. I wonder what happens if I just port it over to like PHP, right? Because this is all front-end stuff, so it should turn this stuff to HTML and then turn the script stuff into a PHP tag, which it's gonna, let's see what it looks like. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so exactly kind of what I said. It's created a PHP class and it wrapped it in PHP tags. So this was all the stuff that was in the script, and then we should have a block of HTML after the closing PHP tag. But it got rid of all my HTML. So it says, we've rewritten your original Vue.js code in PHP, transforming it into a class-based approach for server-side logic. Let me know if you need further modifications. So I will say that it just got rid of my template completely, because that Vue.js code, it had all the HTML that I needed to render that component, but now that's not there. It's just gone. I have all the logic in PHP, but I don't have the template. So that's kind of, I don't know how I feel about that. So what happens now if I port it back to JavaScript? Or what's it say, keep current? If I do that, that's just going to stay on PHP because that's what it is now. So what are my options here? So it's just PHP, keep current. So now does that just get lost? Interesting. So now it's just turning it into a JavaScript class, and I still have no template. So do I just lose my original code? Like, where is that? Do I just have to say revert it back to the original? How about let's just say revert back to Vue.js. Let's see. Okay, so there we go. So I can just revert it back to Vue.js, and it seems like it just saves that in memory. And we have that, and we still have all of the comments. We have the changes that it made here for us. It has the finalies from the code review. So you can just say, hey, revert it back. I don't like that. And then that's it. Then it'll fix that. And then how about add logs? Since we've done all the other ones, let's just add logs and see what that does. It's just going to add logs to every single thing. How does that work? Let's see. So it's adding logs to these functions here. And it added a few more logs. So it does seem like it's just adding logs everywhere. So that's more for debugging. So I'd say that that's okay. Like if I was trying to debug this code and I wanted to add console logs to everything to see when stuff was being called, I would be like, you know what, I'm all right with that. Obviously, I wouldn't leave that there because that's just sloppy, and you shouldn't have that many logs in your code. You don't want to just be logging all of this stuff for no reason. But if you're doing it just to debug your code, I think that that's fine. Here's my big head in the middle of the screen just floating around. All in all, I think it's fine. This is just like a first impressions. I just wanted to try it in real time because I wanted to check it out. And since it's so brand new, I figured I'd check it out with you guys. I don't really write Vue.js code. This code that I was using as an example was originally written by Claude. So it did find a few little bugs that Claude introduced in there. Nothing major, nothing breaking. I don't like the comments. I think that it went overboard with the comments. I do like how you can highlight certain sections and have it just change that code. The porting over to a different language, I guess I could see when that's useful, maybe not. I don't know how often I would actually port over stuff. I will say some good use cases for the porting the code would be like if you've got JavaScript and you want to convert it over to TypeScript, that would probably be a nice use case. Or if you have a code example that you find somewhere for something that you're trying to do, but it's in a different language, you can maybe dump it in here and then have it rewrite it in the language that you're using. So like those features are pretty neat. And all in all, I think for it being in beta, it seems nice, but I'm still not completely sold on it. Like, I don't think this is going to replace Cursor AI or anything like that anytime soon, but I do imagine that this is going to be better and they're going to improve it over time. And once it's introduced to some of the newer models, maybe, you know, it'll get there and it'll be better than Claude. Because honestly, I still like Claude for my code generation, and I haven't been using ChatGPT all that much for coding problems. I just keep going back to Claude, but this is nice. I can imagine that some of those AI text editors are probably a little nervous now, because I found that I prefer going to a separate chat like ChatGPT or Claude than using it integrated in my text editor. For some reason, I don't like the sidebar chat, and it felt clunky inside my text editor. And I'd rather take the code that I'm trying to work on and bring it over here and then make the tweaks that I need and then put it back in, rather than trying to do it all in my text editor, because I found that sometimes it would change code that I didn't want to change and it would make bad suggestions. And I didn't really like Cursor AI. Total preference thing, maybe it was a skill issue, I don't know. But I will say that this is cool. I would like to know what you guys think about it. Again, if you're learning how to code, if you're trying to build stuff right now and you're not using AI tools and large language models to help you with getting better or learning faster or building faster, you're going to be left behind, because these tools are the tools that we will be using in the future to make us more productive. And you better get in now and figure out how to use them so that you have them in your arsenal when you need them. And I will more than likely be playing around with this a bit more. Again, this was just for me to kind of check it out in real time. I literally have not touched it, and I turned on the camera and started recording a video to show myself messing around with this. All right, that's pretty much it. Let me know if you guys are going to use this. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll see you next time.